Today on the show, we're joined by rising country singer-songwriter John Weber. From his debut single, Whiskey Sorrow, to his new release, Who I Am Now, John's been turning real-life stories into songs you can't stop singing. We'll talk heartbreak, small-town roots, and the road ahead. Turn it up. Stick around for my conversation with John Weber. This program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are. Well, welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is John Weber. John, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, Bubba.
Yeah, well, I know you got a new single. I've been seeing it all over my Facebook feed, but before we get into all of that, I'd like to give you the floor here and let us give you a little bit of give us a little bit of backstory.
Backstory of my life or backstory of my music career? Because there's a lot going on in this.
You don't have to go too far back, but hit us with a little something.
Well, I was born and raised in a small town, Indiana, Batesville, Indiana, and my folks kind of started out on a farm. And they ended up selling their farm as I grew up, and we moved to kind of the city, but it's like small town city, and from there I went just a regular kid, went to school, got in trouble a couple times, a lot of interactions with other students, and then let's see. I went to a career center technical school for graphic design. I'm a digital creator. That's what I've been doing pretty much my whole life. Let's see, I went to college, had a good time there. Didn't exactly finish, but it was fun. Learned quite a bit. You could say you learn the hard knocks of life the hard way if you want to. And I think that I did a good job at that. So currently I'm a business owner. I own a small business in the town that I grew up in, and I build and develop signs and decals and t-shirts, graphics, wraps, anything of that sort of nature for our local community. So as I've went along in the process of being a small business owner, let's see, I would say this business I've been in for about 15 years, and it's had its ups and it's had its downs, you could say, just like any other small business. But I decided that I needed to do something different. So I took my creativity with my ability with technology and graphic design and all the photography and things like that I know how to do, and I started developing into making music. And I really had no idea about, I would say 2 years ago when I started, my mom bought me a guitar for my birthday, and that was it. It was off to the races after I picked it up. It just resonated with me so well. So there was an emotional part of it too. When I picked it up, it brought relief to my given stress situation in my life. So I started making music, and I've written plenty of songs, but as you go along, you got to have enough money to be able to make this stuff, be able to market this stuff. So I've only got 2 out so far, but I'm hoping to have some more. So that's kind of the history right there.
That's awesome, man. I love that you're a little bit of a late bloomer to the music world. That's a different story than most of us. I want to say I'm a singer-songwriter myself. I've been singing since I could talk, and started playing guitar, played in concert band, played the drums and stuff in, early middle school days, and then got a guitar by 8th grade. And same thing where it was like, oh, this is it. Right. And not necessarily that I've like always pursued music in like a professional capacity. I guess I've been getting paid to play music since I was in high school and playing in my dad's band and things like that. But it was never like chasing that dream in the same way that maybe I'm chasing it now, albeit a little bit different as a, content creator on the podcast side, while still doing some music. I'm not fully invested in that music side, but man, I feel you on the financial side of recording, right? Even though we can do it at home nowadays, to get the quality that a lot of us are going for. And if you don't have a band that are fully invested in that, if you're trying to hire out with pieces and different things, it can get very expensive very quickly.
Yeah, it can. And so, I mean, along with that, I actually ended up purchasing all my own recording equipment to be able to do my vocals in house rather than having to go to a studio and pay all that studio time. So, just to try to alleviate that. But even just to buy all the equipment to do it, that was a pretty steep climb there,
Yeah,
But,
several $1,000s, and that's kind of taking the cheaper route. That's kind of skimping on some things. I'm looking at all of my equipment surrounding me in the lab here, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of money sitting around here, and just to get a computer these days is no small feat that will run these programs and do what you need it to do. So yeah, I think that's a big part that's missing when people think about, songwriters and musicians. Like, oh, it's so nice, you're living the dream, and it's like, you don't know how hard this grind is, and most of us aren't able to survive on our music alone. We all have, jobs or hustles or businesses that we're running besides this, and thankfully for yourself, I'm sure you make all your own merch and do all of that. So thankful for your background in graphic design and already having that business, but it's a huge expense to do that. I mean, I print my stuff in house, but it's still like a lot of time and a lot of effort to get there.
I do have the complete production team here to be able to develop any merch that we want. We actually print for a lot of bands. And that was another reason why I was like, I'm really big into bands. What if I start doing music and I can start doing merch for other people? So we do a lot of merch. Actually, the hat I'm wearing right now is for a buddy of mine's band called Pure Grain. And they do some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, we make a lot of merch for a lot of bands. But there was something I was going to say, but I done forgot. Shoot.
It's all good. We'll get back around to it. So Southern Indiana, you're not that far from Nashville, I take it. Obviously a lot of influence. I just visited Nashville my first time for the Josie Music Awards. Now, I've been through Tennessee a lot when I was a younger pup. We lived in the Chicago area, and my dad had gone to college down near Chattanooga, so we would go through there a lot, but I never stopped. And what a different scene it is there. I'm a South Dakota kid, man. When we moved from the Chicago area out to Deadwood, South Dakota, I was 10 years old. So I really say I grew up, in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We live 5 hours from there now, out in the farm country, which I'm sure honestly doesn't look much different than it looks in Indiana, to be perfectly honest. But talk about kind of that juxtaposition, right? Where you're like, you're in a small town, but you're also not that far from some of these major metro areas that are in that, kind of central South Midwest region. I know you're fairly early in your career, but are you playing gigs live and, playing the bars around in your area?
Well, let me tell you something. I started doing this music thing 2 years ago, but I've actually been a DJ for 19 years. So when I was a kid, I started DJing for some family members, and then eventually it started sprawling out into going everywhere. And I've actually played music, as a DJ, as a professional DJ, not as a musician, for stars, NFL like stars. I couldn't tell you their names because I don't remember. I guess that's how it goes, man. You're a star for a little while and then you kind of fizzle back out. Broadway producers. I've had to fly to like Florida, Cayman Islands to play music before. It's been a fun ride, doing music. But yes, there's a lot going on. Like, I'm in between Cincinnati and Indianapolis, as best as I can put it. Those are my two large cities. And occasionally I've had to travel Chicago before. But so I've been in music my whole life, just not physically playing it myself. But as far as like right now, I have done one stage presence for a local fire department in my very local area, just to kind of try it out and kind of test the waters and see, how it is. I'm kind of still really new at this, and my first time going up on stage and actually singing and stuff, I didn't think it went too bad. I think it went pretty decent, but I was pretty nervous at the start, and I really did feel that, and you could hear it in my voice. So I'm starting to learn, what do I got to do to like prevent this anxiety from coming on, because I didn't think I had stage fright. I mean, I've been a DJ for years. If you put a microphone in my hand and I'm talking on it like a DJ, I go into DJ mode. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I'm used to that. But as soon as like I have to be more personable on the microphone, then it's like just a totally different story. So I'm working on it. But right now I don't have any shows, and I don't plan on booking any shows until next year. I did set a goal of like next summer, I want to be on stage somewhere. But that's kind of my long-term goal right now.
Interesting, man. That's pretty cool that you have the history in that. You've worked in the music industry, right? You've been working around it and doing the DJ, which is a lot of the same stuff, right? It's the setup and the tear down, and it's a world that a lot of us, even if we're weekend warriors, going out and playing local shows, that we know all too well. So it's like, the hard parts, but you're just getting used to like the really good part, which is getting to perform for people and feeding off of that crowd. And you're going to figure that part out, man. No doubt. I remember being, 13, 14 years old, and I had sang in choir. I had done some competitions and different things. So like I had sang in front of people, both big crowds and small ones, but, stepping in front of my whole town for a 4th of July celebration was like the first time playing with my dad's band that I was kind of thrust into that front man spot. And I just had to sing one song. So I didn't necessarily have to, carry the whole show. But I remember those nerves, right? Yeah. I remember forgetting a few of the words, and I was singing an old Grateful Dead song that like probably 3 people in the crowd even knew all the words to. Hell, Jerry Garcia didn't know all the words to most of the songs half the time. So, but I got so down on myself, right? Where I was like, I forgot that. And it's like, look, you're good, man. You're good. Did you have fun? Well, hell yeah. I had a great time, man. That was awesome. And I mean, really, since that day, I've been chasing it. And now I've played in front of, played all original sets in front of thousands of people and felt that rush from the crowd and that adoration, right, for what you're doing. And especially when you're playing original music, I think it hits a little bit different. It's one thing to play, covers and do that, which, you kind of get that as a DJ too, when people hear their favorite song come on and, you're kind of the reason, you're the one who picked it, right? Yeah. So you're the reason for that, but it's different when you're up there and you're the one who's now performing it.
Yeah. You could call me a OG Spotify or Pandora, because I had to do it before it guessed for you what to play next, So that also gave me some intuition on what people are going to like to hear and how to develop a good sounding song that articulates all aspects of being creative and having the correct formulation, staying within like time frame limits of like 3 minutes to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. All those things kind of transpired from me doing music for so long. And actually, I wanted to mention something to you. You brought back a memory for me when you were talking about that nervousness thing. And I just remembered this. So when I was on stage for the first time, I had this band that invited me back up to stage after I sang some of my songs. I actually sang Who I Am Now about 4 months ago live. And so what they did was they brought me back up. I think they started taking a liking to me. The band was called Misty Creek. I think it's a local band, and it's just a bunch of good old boys that got together and started playing some music for a fire department. And well, we were up there, and the lead guitarist was playing really, really good. And I kind of like forgot the lyrics to the song we were singing. I was doing it's that Big and Rich song, "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy." I really like that song. It's big and loud, and so I'm singing that, and all of a sudden I forget like that part where he's like, "I'm a thoroughbred." That's what she said, and I forgot that part. And the lead guitarist looked at me and he was like, "It's okay, man. It's okay. They don't know you're messing up." And I was like, it just took a totally different perspective. Like, when you're up on stage, what the person listening and viewing you is doing is completely different than what you're experiencing. You're almost like sped up in a sped up state, and they're just kind of listening. So like if a guitarist makes a mistake, it's not like a studio recording. Because when I first went up there, I was thinking studio recording, like you have to be perfect, articulate, and all this. And there's a lot of mistakes that people make on stage that you just don't even catch. And I just thought that was fascinating. The guy kind of calmed me down. He's like, "It's okay, man. You're good. Nobody even knows you messed up." And I was
No,
like,
it's way behind you already, right? Like, it's like you're speeding by in a boat, right? You're out on the water, and it's like, oh, well, it's like it's gone already.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter,
yeah.
and you can only worry about what's right in front of you, and kind of take it from there. So yeah, good lessons learned out there on the stage. And that's really, I mean, that's most of my life playing music has been shows like that, fundraisers for the fire department or small town, bar and grill shows. Essentially, I've played a few big stages in my life, but I've never had a hunger for like, I got to perform in front of 50,000 people, right? Like I've never had that. I want to be that big star up there. I don't need that. I don't think I would have any trouble performing in that, right? Because of that confidence that I have from performing at the small shows. To me, it's all the same. It's what do we make up here on this stage, and are you having fun? And I had some really great mentors early on in my career that kind of taught that to me, and I'm very grateful for the good old boys, right? That are just doing it for fun and aren't putting too much pressure on themselves or anyone around them to kind of, be something that you're not.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And speaking of mentors, actually, we were talking about something earlier that I thought about with the equipment thing. And so I started buying too much equipment, and you can take a guess where I got the money from. So anyway, I ended up having to call two of my mentors, and I was like, "Hey, I think I'm blowing my company up, and not in a good way." but anyway, that was just a quick little note. Yeah, so you can really spend too much money on stuff.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times you don't always need all that stuff, right? I don't have a ton of lights. I have enough to do a small show, but I'm not trying to fill up a 20-foot trailer with equipment and the whole big stage and all. Like there's plenty of people with all that equipment now. I kind of know who I am. I'm almost 40 years old. I know where I am in my journey and what I'm trying to do with my music. And really this podcast has become so much more important because we've built a platform now that supports other artists. And I think that's always where my passion was anyway, was in like just original music, just anyone with other original music, not just my own. Right. So now we're able to build that up for a lot of other people. And it's been an absolute blessing. And I still get to go and be around creative people, which is, I think, all I've ever really wanted to do, whether it's at the Josie's and hanging out in Nashville, or it's, at our, much smaller organization, the Midwest Country Music Organization, and hanging out with, all of my friends there. To me, it's all the same. I just love being around creative, inspired individuals. And I'm very grateful for where I'm at now. John, I don't want to keep you too long, man. I know you're a busy guy, business owner, and a lot of stuff going on at home. So why don't you go ahead and just share where we can find all of us, where we can check out the new single, and I'll let you get out of here.
Yeah. Who I Am Now is my single that's out right now. It came out this last Friday. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Play, any type of platform. Pretty much all the platforms, Pandora. You can also check out my website and probably find a link on there at John Weber, 2B's and Weber.net. Yeah, you can also add me on Facebook or check out my TikTok. I have a couple platforms I'm on, kind of sharing my little video feeds and stuff as I make my new music.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks for giving me a little bit of your time today, and thanks for being part of the scene.
Hey, Bubba, I appreciate it, and good luck with what you're doing here. I think it's great, and I saw that you're also got another song out after 15 years. Kind of went dormant there, so I'm happy to hear it. I can't wait to listen to it. So we'll have to check that out too.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. See you. Bye.